Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining me for my next Watch Me Viz. I'm going to again look at the Back to Viz Basics project and look at week 4 of 2022, designing KPIs. So if you're not familiar with the project, Back to Viz Basics is just what it sounds like. We're trying to get people to understand the fundamentals of data visualization. The project is run by Eric Balash, and I will put a link in the notes to the website. The idea is to take on each of the weekly challenges and build something related to that topic. So this week we're going to look at designing some KPIs. So if you click on the link, it then takes you to data.world, where there's a description of the project for that week. The idea here is to look at big numbers, KPIs, really anything that you want, anything that represents kind of a big key number. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I've done is I've actually gone ahead and brought up a couple of different examples of visualizations that I've created, and I thought we would maybe try to build these first so you can understand how I did those. So I'm going to use Superstore, and the first thing we'll do is we'll just build one of these calculations. So we see the top left has the sales for the latest year, and then the bottom left has the sales for the latest month. The data set that I am using for Superstore, if I right click and drag that to the view and I look at all dates, you'll see the data goes from 2018 through 2021. I think I want this to maybe reflect sales as of yesterday, so I'm going to create a new field that just kind of adjusts our order date. So I'm going to create a new calculate field. I'm just going to call it date, and what I'm going to do is that first off I need to get the difference in days between the start date, which is order date, and then the end date, which is today. So that's going to give me the number of days, and I want to subtract 1 from that. So that's going to give me, so let's say it's December, the date was December 31st. What's the difference between that and today? And then subtract 1 day from that, so it goes to yesterday. And then I want to use the date add function, and I'm going to add days. The interval I'm going to use is that date diff calculation that I created, and then comma order date, and then another bracket to close it off. So if I bring this date field in here now, let me change it to a date field and bring in the dates. You'll see that now at the bottom here we have, oh no, I did something wrong here. So this is 20, oh, I'm giving the same day back for everything. Well, that's pretty dumb. So let me go back into the calculation. Okay, so we want to add the number of days. I just did this the other day. How am I drawing a blank now? So this is giving us the number of days between the order date and today. Right, so let me just, I'm going to just change this real quick. Let me just copy this into a new calculation. Sorry about this, I'm not quite sure what I did wrong here. And I'm just going to call it date diff. And let's make that a, okay, so if I put that here, okay, so I see all the different days here. So what I want to do then is, I think, all right, so we got 112, 111. So I'm going to add 111 days to this calculation. So if I, what if I bring in the, I don't think this is how I did it the other day, but if I do a min around that, what do we get? We should get 111. Okay, so I'm going to use that calculation then. So let's edit this calculation, and instead of this date diff, I'm going to use the date diff calculation I just created. Okay, so now the data goes through yesterday, and you can see everything is now adjusted. Okay, sorry about that. That was a bit of a sidetrack there. So right, so once I have this data, I'm going to create a couple of calculations to help get me started. So the first thing is I'm going to create a calculated field called latest year. And I'll just put a question mark because it's going to return a Boolean. So I'm going to say, let's see, the year of date is equal to the max year of date. So this level of detail expression is just going to find the largest year value. So I've hit OK, and I drag that into the, drag that into the rows. You'll see I get trues and then falses once I get back to 2021. Okay, so that's good. And then I want to create another one that is called previous year. So let me duplicate this calculation. And let's call this prior year. And now I just want to subtract 1 from my max. So if I bring that into the view, if we go down to 2021, let's see, 2021, where are you? There we go. They're now all true. And when I get to 2022, they're now all false. So good to go there. Okay, so we have those two. Let me, let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually rename these. I'm going to put an underscore in front of all of them so that they group together nicely. Oops. So let me just put an underscore here. That way they all kind of group together nicely at the top. I could use folders, but I don't really like using folders. All right, so then let's do the latest month. So let's create a new calculated field and underscore latest month. And now what we want to say is we want to do date trunk of the month of order date, or no, of date, not order date, is equal to, and I'm just going to copy this. And again, I'm going to use a level of detail expression, max, and then mustachio. Okay, so let's drag that into the view. If we go down the bottom, you'll see April is true, everything else is false. Okay, so then we need to do the previous month, so let's duplicate that. And let's call this one underscore prior month. And again, I'm doing this just to get these calculations built because I'm going to refer to all of them later. So now what we need to do is we need to take this date trunk function, and then I want to subtract 1 month from that. So I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to do date add, and I'm going to do month, comma, -1, comma, and then my level of detail expression. So if I put prior month in here, you'll see we get true for March 2022, and then everything else is false, and I could go back to March of 2021, and those are all false as well. Okay, so we're good to go. We have those calculations. Okay, let me just rename these so that they're all the same. I'm just going to get rid of those question marks. All right, so if we want to look at the latest year sales, I'm going to create a new calculated field. I'm going to call this latest, let's see, sales, how about CY for current year. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, I know we need to get the sum of sales, but we need to do it for the latest year. So I'm going to use the integer function. And the integer function, if I call the latest year calculation, that's going to take the Boolean, which we saw was a true and a false. It's going to convert that to a 1 or a 0. And I'm going to multiply that by sales. So if I bring my date field into the view again, let me just do it this way. Okay, and if I bring sales current year into the rows, you'll see they're all 0 until we get to the current year. I could then repeat that for sales prior year, so PY, and instead of sales latest year, we want to say prior year here. So if I put that in the view, you'll see it now gets shifts. Okay, so that's good to go. Okay, but now because we don't have the same number of days, so this only goes through April, we need to compare. We don't want to compare only a partial year of 2020 to a full year, a partial year of 2022 to a full year of 2020, let's see, 20 to a full year of 2021. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, let's see, so I only want to look at, so if, let's see, so I want to do, first thing I want to do is I want to get the max date trunk, this is year, right? Okay, let's see. So max. Basically, I want to look at all of the days. Let me redo this here. So I'm going to need to build this as a table so we can see what to do. Okay, so if I bring in sales current year and I go all the way down, you'll see we only have sales through the 20th of April. If I bring in sales prior year, then I have sales all the way through December of 2021, which we don't want. We only wanted to have sales through the current day of the previous year. So I think what I'm going to do here then, I'm going to say that and date is is less than or equal to let's see, date add the year level. I'll explain this in a second. -1, and then the max. Oops. Date. Okay, so this is going to it's going to grab the latest date. It's going to then subtract a year from that date, and then our date field needs to be less than or equal to that. So now you'll see those. If I go up to, there we go. So March 20th, or sorry, April 20th is where the data is now. Okay, so we have our current and prior year sales. So let me close that out. And I want to, so let's say I want to have, let's just start with a big number. So let's put sales current year onto the text shelf. And then underneath of that, I want to compute a difference. So I'm going to create a new calculated field, and I'm going to call this sales YOY, so sales year over year as a percentage. So I'm going to take the sum of sales current year, oops, yep, minus the sum of sales prior year. And I'm going to divide that by the sum of sales, oops, prior year. All right, and let's go ahead and set the default number for that. I'm going to use a custom number, and I'm going to put a plus 0.0%, and then semicolon minus 0.0%. If you watched my my tip this week, you'll see that I did the same thing. So I'm going to put that on the text shelf as well, and now we have that. Okay, so let's go in here and do a bit of formatting. So I need to move that one up there. Okay, so I'm going to call this versus prior year to date. So I'll call it PYTD just because that's what I'm used to seeing. I'm going to maybe make this one 36 and make this one 12. Hit apply, and I'm going to align everything. And there we go. So now we have our difference current year versus prior year. So up 31%. And there we go. So this is current year to date. So I'll do CYTD versus PYTD. Okay. Now, let's say that we want to filter this for some reason. So let me duplicate this sheet. Oops. Do want to do that. Duplicate. And I'm not sure which categories, so are any of these negative? Okay, let's look at subcategories. Some of them are going to be negative. Here we go. So binders is negative. Anyway, let's say that we want to be able to color code these based on whether they're positive or negative. So right now, the number is always black because we haven't formatted it. So what we'd have to do there is create a couple of different calculations. So I'm going to duplicate my sales year over year and edit that. And I'm going to, let's see, oh no, we don't need to do that. Yeah, that's fine. So let's call this, I'm just going to put a plus, and I'm going to say if sales year over year is greater than 0, or greater than or equal to 0, then we want to use sales year over year, end. Okay, all it's doing is returning the same value. And then let's duplicate that, and let's call it sales minus. And now we're just going to say less than 0. And again, we're going to return the same value. So let's take both of these and put them onto the onto the text shelf. Okay, and then we're going to go in here. Actually, let me get rid of. I think it's that one I want to get rid of. And now I have these two values here. So I'm going to just move the positive in front of the negative, and I'm going to move this row down like that. Okay, so it looks like we've got some extra stuff in here, but if I click on the sales year over year plus, I can maybe make that one maybe blue, and let's make the other one orange, and hit OK. So now you see it says plus 23%. If I filter then, so let me just go to category, or no, subcategory it was, wasn't it? Subcategory. You can see it's now red for the ones that are negative. So you have to create two calculations and color them separately, but at least it works. Let's see. So I'll call this current year versus prior year with color, something like that. Okay, but going back to this example, this one has a line and a chart in the same place. So let me just, I'm going to just duplicate this original. Actually, let's start from scratch. So this is looking at sales for the latest year. Okay, so we're going to say latest year, and let's bring it true. And then let's see, we want to bring in, where's it? Where's my date field? There we go. So I'm going to right click and drag date to the columns and choose months. And actually, let's choose like weeks, and let's put sales onto the rows. So we get something like that. And in the top, we want to have the sales current year on the let's put that on the detail shelf, and then our sales year over year also on the detail shelf. Okay, so if I now go into my title, let's see, hopefully I do this right. Let's insert the sales current year, and then let's insert the sales year over year. I'll say versus prior year. And there we go. So notice how I get this range, 507 to 3257. That's because it's picking up each of these values in the chart. So what I actually should have done is each of these, let's see, each of these sales figures that I created should actually be a level of detail expression. So I'm going to wrap a sum around that. Okay, and then let's edit the next one, and because I only want a single number to come back. Okay, so you see now we get a single number and we get our percentage, but over here everything's the same. You see, I notice how everything is the same value. So what I would need to do in this case is, let's just say we want to filter down to binders and hit OK. I would need then to add this to context, because that way Tableau filters that before it does the calculation. Okay. So this now gives us the, let's make this a nice big font, maybe 28 and bold, and let's maybe make this one like 12. Could have sworn I picked 12 there. All right, and let's maybe color these lines maybe black. And let's do a bit of cleanup. So I'm going to format the view. I'm going to get rid of my grid lines, get rid of my zero line, get rid of my axis rulers, and then I'm going to hide the header for both of them. So I'm going to call this my weekly sales current year. And we get that. Okay. Yeah, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Okay, so Nicole Caesar, I'm glad you like that trick. Okay, so that's that one. You could repeat that for other metrics if you want. So that's our latest year. If we want to do the same thing for latest month, so let me let's see. Let me just yeah, let's go ahead and duplicate this sheet. And instead of latest year here, I'm going to put latest month. And then I'm going to make this days, just so it's a bit, let's make this exact date. Okay, so now we have our daily sales. So I'll call this one daily sales current month. And okay, so I didn't create my calculations for current year, prior year. Okay, so let me duplicate these three calculations. And then the first one, let's call this sales CM. And I'm just going to use latest month. And then what's the other one here? Sales PM. And we're going to put in sales prior month. And let's see, where was my there we go. So let's edit this. So this is going to be sales mom percent. And instead of sales current year, it's going to be sales current month. Let me just do it this way. Okay, hit OK. So I should be able to just replace these in the view. And of course that doesn't work like the way you would want it to. So sales current month. All right, and of course we get this wonderful missing field. Isn't that great? Just freaking spectacular. So I'm going to highlight that and insert sales current month, and then highlight this one and insert month over month, and just say versus prior month. And there we go. So now we have sales current month versus prior month. Okay, and again, if you wanted to, let's say, filter down to a certain product or a certain region. So if I put region in the view, I get my different regions, then the total stays the same. If I want to filter to a specific region, notice that 43,000 is still there. So I need to turn this region field into a context filter, and there we go. Okay. Oh, I think one thing I forgot to do, though, is with my, where's my sales prior year? So I did, let's see, I think I need to do, so in our prior year calculation, if you remember, we did this date add trick here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something similar for the, so right now this is negative because I'm comparing 20 days of April to a full month of March. So I think, let me see if this works. So let's edit this and okay, actually let's just leave it for now because I'm going to end up getting stuck in calculations and you're not going to learn how to build KPIs. All right, so that's all of those. These are pretty similar, so these are running totals, but this has two lines, one for the latest year and one for the current year. Okay, so let's, maybe we'll take, let's take this one, let's duplicate, and I'm going to call this weekly sales current year versus prior year. And what we want to do now is we're going to have sales current year. Okay, so we have that. So we want to have sales current year. Okay, so that didn't work. So let's get rid of that. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm just being dumb. And let's, all right. I think this will work. So let's call this latest year or prior year. Okay, so I'm going to say latest year or prior year. Oops. Okay, so let's put that on the filters and choose true. And we don't want sales current year on here. We just want to use sales. And you can see we get a big split here. So I'm going to make this, if I drag the year field, so let's drag date onto the color, and we get two different lines here. So in order to make them kind of overlap, I'm going to make this discrete, something like that. Actually, let's make it maybe let's see, more. Let's call it week number, and now we have 1 week. 1 year versus the other year. So let's maybe make 2022. Let's make that maybe black. And let's make 2021 a gray. Something like that. I want 22. Notice how the black is behind the gray. So I'm just going to rearrange them on the color shelf. And there we go. So now we're looking at, let's hide that. We're looking at current year versus prior year as two lines. All right. Slightly different take here. So we have, you'll see this one is in is green. This one's in red because it's above or below. So let's maybe try to rebuild one of these again. So this is looking at total sales, and then plus 19% year over year. Okay, so we have something like that already. So I'm going to, okay, so that's current year versus prior year. So we want to have one of them as an area chart and one of them as a line chart. Okay, so let's duplicate this. And what we're going to need to have then is we need to have two fields. Okay, I think this is because we need to have a dual axis chart because one is an area and one is a line. Okay, so let's create a new calculated. Actually, I could just do. I'll call this one sales. Current year 2. And I'm just going to refer to the same field. And you'll see why in a second. Oh no, wait, I want to do, no, I want to say if sales, let's see. What am I trying to do? So I want to do the int of latest year times sales. Okay. Maybe I'll just name this no LOD. And then I want to duplicate that. I'll call this one sales PY. And I'm going to call this one prior year. Or put prior year in there. Okay, so we've duplicated that. All right, so I'm going to get rid of sales. I'm going to get rid of the year field. I'm going to take my sales current year no LOD and put that on the rows, and notice how we get that same view that we just had. So the line chart's the same, but I want to have an area chart for the prior year. So if I go to sales prior year, I'm going to make that a dual axis and synchronize. And I'm going to right click on that second axis and change the mark type to area. And this one we want to always be gray. So okay, so measure names is on the color shelf, so I'm going to get rid of that. And the sales prior year, I'm just going to make this one gray. So it's there, but just kind of for context. And then let's go ahead and move that to the back and hide the header. Okay, so, but we have, the text is kind of on the left-hand side. So let's call this one total sales. And let's make this maybe unbold, and let's make it maybe 12. Yeah, something like that. And then this one, let's maybe make it 20. And okay, so we can maybe make this one, let's make it Tableau semi-bold. All right, and then we have, we need to have our two calculations in here. So I'm going to put my sales, come on, oh, okay, I need these to be on the detail shelf. Oops. On the all marks card, let's put these on the detail shelf. Okay, and then here I want to insert my plus, insert my minus, and I'll say versus prior year. And let's maybe make this whole row, what does it look like? Looks like that's about 12 point as well. Now the sales year over year, we're going to always color that one as, I think we said that this one's going to be orange. And okay. But notice this says none. It didn't do that before though, did it? What am I doing differently here, sirs? Oh, I think it's because we have this latest year versus prior. Okay, so we don't need that. And then, okay, no, wait, so that's going to filter. Okay. I think we get rid of that one. Did I put the wrong field in there? So that's minus. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is let me edit the number format for the, so if we look here, you'll see we're using triangles. So in my number format, I'm going to insert a triangle instead. So let me go to my emoji keyboard and insert a triangle. And then here, I'm going to insert a downward triangle. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll put another semicolon and I'll just put a space in there. So that's going to say, what if it's 0? So this is positive, this is negative, and if that one is 0. So let me edit this. I'm going to wrap the whole thing in a ZN. That's going to convert any nulls to 0. So let me edit this one. Okay, you'll see that turns to 0. So let me default properties, number format. So let me just copy that and then edit. And oh, not edit. We want to number format, and let's put that in there. Okay, and there we go. So if I change it to, I think, what was our product we used? I think it was binders, and we add that to context. We now get our negative number there. Okay, let me get rid of that. But we also want to color code. Oh, let me hide the header. I'm just going to clean it up a bit. I'm going to hide the header. You could clean all your tooltips up and stuff if you want. I'm not going to really worry about that right now. Get rid of my row and column dividers. Okay. Now notice in this one that, oh, look at that view, actual size. It's a green line if it's positive, and it's a red line if it's negative. So what we want to do then is we want to create a new calculated field. So I'll say current year greater than prior year. All right, so all we need to do here is we need to say sales year over year % is greater than 0. And let's put that onto the color shelf of the line. Okay, and it's true, so we're going to choose our color here. Oh, I got to find the same colors. Oh, that's going to be a nightmare. Let me just pick one. I don't remember what color I used. Okay, close enough. And then if I filter this to that, let me just filter it so I can make sure I get a negative example. Now I want to make this one orange, so it is orange to aqua, and it's like, I don't know, something like that. Okay, so there we go. So now we have the colors, and you could repeat that for, you know, profit, volume, sales per customer, whatever. Now to make this look good, you'd oops, let's call this one dual axis. You'd want to go ahead and shrink it up, put it in a dashboard, and make it a nice small little card like that. So if you want to do that kind of within the view itself, so if I shrink this up, and then let me grab the right hand side of it, wherever the right hand side is. Come on. Why is it not letting me? It's not letting me grab the right hand side. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, well, you'd want to just kind of like shrink it over. So I think we can do, is it Control minus? There we go. So on a Mac, it's Control Command left, and that'll shrink it down a bit. Okay. Okay, so that's a nice little KPI like those. All right, what else do we have here? So we've done that kind of thing. Same idea there. Let's see. I'm just trying to think if we have any other ones. All right, so that's probably okay. I'm going to now bring up some of these other examples. So Adam McCann has a great KPI options dashboard. So these are kind of similar to what I've already done. We could put maybe big triangles behind them. So he calls that a ban arrow. So let's see. We could take. We could really just duplicate this sheet, and let's call this one ban I'm not going to call it an arrow, I'm going to call it triangle. Okay, so first off, there's the text, which he has kind of like that. And then he has this as kind of a smaller font, so let's make that maybe 11 or 10. All right, so we get something like so that looks pretty similar, and then we want to have a shape, whether or not it's above or below. So let's create a shape, and okay, so this is kind of messed up. So let me just fit it to entire view for now, and we don't want it to be a circle, so we want to have let's see, current year versus prior year. So if I put this onto the shape shelf, so current year versus prior year, so if I make that a triangle, so filled, let's make it an upward triangle if it's a positive. And then I could also put that onto color. And I could then also assign it a negative, let's see, so let's put subcategory in here again, binders, and add to context. Now it's a negative, so we're going to change the shape to be a downward triangle. And then we want the colors already like that. Okay, so if I go into the label here, is it still okay? So it just looks a bit funny because of the ordering of the text. So it might be useful to have this on 2 lines. You know, if you do it like that, maybe it'll look a bit better. Okay, so that's kind of a band triangle. Maybe what I'll do is I'll start building I'll build a dashboard in a bit. If we want to do squares, so let's duplicate this sheet. If we want to do a square, what I'm going to do now is it fills up the entire space, which is kind of a pain to do with a square, ironically. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a calculation that's the average of 1. And I'm going to make this a Gantt bar. Or no, I'm just going to make it a bar. And let's just set the size to the maximum. And now we can go ahead and hide the header. You'd want to make sure you clean up your tooltips and all that as well, by the way. And let's say worksheet. Where's my format? Format lines. So you'd want to get rid of your grid lines. Anyway, you kind of want to do all that cleanup. So that's going to be your square. So if I remove this filter, it'll now just change it to be something like that. So that's going to be a, I'll call this one a band square. Okay, let me just look and see if there's any. So Cesar, you said that's such a cool way of doing this. I wonder what, which part you're talking about. All right. Yeah, so Adam McCann. So Karen, it's Adam McCann. I will put links to all of these in the notes for the in the notes. Sorry, in the description of the video once it's finished. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what this is. So column good, easier to make comparison, bad. So column equals KPI value. Okay. Don't quite get that one. We could try the ban area. So let's I think if we duplicate the sheet, and now instead of using that, we want to have an area chart. So let's say we want to first filter to latest year. Okay, and then we're going to put the let's just say we want to put the date field as weeks, and let's make it a line. Oh, but I've got the same. Okay, so I need to put sales current year, no LOD on the rows. Actually, I probably don't even need that if I'm doing. Okay, yeah. Right, but now the issue is, so let's make this an area. And the color will change again like we've been doing. But notice how we've got this number everywhere. So If you want to have it as kind of, you see he's got, if you look really closely, there's kind of hidden bars here. So what you could probably do then is, so let me hide the header. I've never built this before, so I'm kind of thinking about it the same way you will. You could do it like we did here, where you have the big number at the top. But this one kind of has it hovering over top. So what I could probably do here is if I take sales current year, let me just put that as a dual axis. And then I'm not going to synchronize. Okay, so let's leave it like that. But this one, we just want it to be a, let's see, we just want that to be text. So let me go here and let's remove those. Get rid of measure names. Get rid of measure names. Okay, so now we've got all of these, but you see it's repeated. So how could we do this differently? We could probably, instead of having it on text, I'm just going to try something here. Let's move into detail. And if I make this maybe a, let's make it a bar. Is that going to do it? No, let's make it a, if I make it a line. Okay, so now we've got a straight line. And if I, let's see. Okay, I don't think that's going to work, so let me get rid of that. I'm going to bring on a, let's try a reference line for the sales. Oh no, we don't do that because then it's going to shift the number all the way to the top. And we can't put the label in the middle, can we? So tooltip, custom, and I want to put in the, yes, that's not going to work. Oh wait, here we go. So that's the label. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we want this to be, so sales current year, no LOD. Okay, so I need to put sales current year on here again. But that's not going to work because then it's going to give me a value that's too big. Okay. Okay. Right, so that's a pretty big fail. So let me just undo, go back to where it looked like we were kind of making some progress here. So what I want to do is I kind of want to pick out the midpoint of all of these and put the text there. Maybe what I could do is if I make this one a, let's see, what would be another way I could do this one? Because if I put the sales current year on the label, so I kind of need to get the midpoint here. I wonder if you could do it with like layering. So let me try. Can we do? Oh, you can't do layers on a chart. Okay, we'll come back to that one because I'm kind of stuck there. Let me move my mic a bit farther away. Some of you are getting a bit of reverb, so let me know. I moved my mic farther away from my face, so let me know if that's better. I just noticed that the mic volume was going up into red. So Sean and Tamika, let me know if that fixes it. Okay, we could do those. Okay. I think another thing that's useful to know how to do, so let me just get rid of this. We're going to pretend we never tried to do that area chart one, is, so let's look at sales current year, no LOD. Let's make that a bar. And then let's put sales prior year, no LOD onto detail. And I'm going to add a reference line for each cell. That is going to be my sales prior year. Okay, so we've got a line there. I'm going to make it a black line, untick, recalculate, and no tooltip as well. Okay, so we can see we have our little line there. I'm going to bring in subcategory, and let's make an entire view, maybe sort descending. All right, so you see some of them are above and some of them are below, and I want to now compare the sales the sales current year versus prior year. So if I just bring this one on color, you'll notice I'll just get a single color. So I want to be able to compare them at the row level. So let's call this current year versus prior year sales. Let's see, sales current year versus prior year, no LOD. And I'm just going to look at sales current year, no LOD. Is that greater than sales prior year? And if we put that onto color, we'll see we get two colors. We could maybe use our favorite color palette again. Let's see, which one do we want to use? What if we use Watch Me Viz, since that's what we're doing? So we'll make the trues false. Sorry, the false. That we want to make the falses red or like an orange. The trues maybe blue, something like that. Okay, and then that's a way you can have the you could just have two colors. This is kind of like a KPI, I guess. All right. Okay, so that's those. This one's pretty neat as well. Okay, so let's stop with those here. We've got 15 minutes to go, so let me go through a couple more examples. So let's see what else we have here from Adam. Okay, so these are same kind of idea. So nothing real different there. Priya. So I think this one is similar to what, yes, we just did those, so that's very similar. Will Perkins. Okay, so these look I think these look pretty nice. So what I would do for this one. So this one it's kind of similar to, oops, sorry about that. It's sort of similar to this one. So let's duplicate this one, and let's call this one, I'll call this one weekly sales versus prior year, and I'll call it Will Perkins. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the prior year column, and we're going to make the marks bars. All right, and we want to now, let's use so this is looking at, it always has the most recent month highlighted, but I think what we could do is we could have this new calculation we just created, and we could have it like that. So yeah, so I think that's okay. They still have the big number here, and then, but I think I like it like that instead, where you have, okay, well, but maybe we should try what he's doing. So okay, so let's say we want to have, so it looks like it has sales and then the triangle and then the big number below it. All right, so let's try to, let's see, how can we do this? Can we do it with a reference line? Let's see. So let's put on analytics. So that's at the bottom. Okay, so let's say we want to kind of make it the middle of all of these points. So let's see. Let's try it with a reference line. I don't know if this is going to work or not. So let's do that. And let's just say it's the average. So the label we want to use is, yeah, see, that's not going to work because the label only shows you the sales current year. Is that what we want? Yeah, but that's not gonna give us what we want. So I'm going to let's say we want to take the average sales across the current year, or we could say let's just say average of 0. So that's going to give us these bars. Let's make this a line. And then what we're going to put on the label is our sales current year. And then I could say the min max. And the field I want to choose the minimum of is our week. And then just label the minimum value. Okay. So that's going to give us that, and we could put the label alignment to the top. Oh, why did I choose area? I chose line. And let's get rid of the color. We could set the line to be transparent and as thin as it'll go. All right, so now we have that three. We'll format this in a second, and then we could have put that on label and put that on label. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat here, and let me just copy all of this, and I'll reset this just so we know what that I'm not cheating. All right, so if I hit apply, we get something like that. Okay, and then we could make this a dual axis and synchronize. And then I'm going to hide the header for that one. And I think that gives us kind of what he's looking at here. Maybe if I make the chart a bit bigger. Something like that. So if we go into the label, let's make this one like, I don't know, 48. And then the total sales, so this goes up here. What does that look like? Up 23%. Okay. So there's a bit of space here. But I think that's another way you could do it. Maybe on this one we should fade out the colors a bit. So it's maybe something like that. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, so that's kind of the Will Perkins version. All right, let me go back to my list. So Brian Moore. I just did a quick search on Tableau Public. Okay, so this is similar here. This is a really cool dashboard, by the way. I should start this one because I like it. How it flips through all of these different views. Okay, so this one, again, we're looking at, it's pretty similar to what we're doing here. So let's duplicate this one, and let's call this one Brian Moore. And on the label here, I wonder if we can choose the middle. How could we do this then? Because we can't do line ends. Okay, how else could we do this? Let me see. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that for now, and I'm going to try creating a dual axis with the date field. So I want to call window median of the min of the week. Let's see. Let me drag this in there. I think I've got too many brackets there. That one goes with, so I think I need one more. Okay, so let's make it discrete. So we get 9. Okay, so week 9 is in the middle. Okay, so let's make this oh, it doesn't let me make it a dual axis. There we go. Okay, oh no, that just changed the order of them. Okay, so let's try. All right, I'm going to try something else here then. I'm just going to call this median week value. I'll call it median week marker. So I'm going to say if this is equal to that, then we want to get the maximum of the view. So window max of this one. And okay, so So date part, economics aggregate. Okay, so this is going to need to be, so this is a table calc, which means it's an aggregate. So let me just wrap this in an attribute. Let's see if that does it. Okay, so let's make this let's bring that here. Let me get rid of that one. Okay, so now we have just one bar. Okay, yeah, this is going to work. And we want to set this using table across. That's good. Let's hide the indicator. So on this bar, I'm going to change it to be maybe a circle. And then I'm going to put these things all on label. And let me go back to the previous view. And I'm going to cheat here and use all of those. Okay, and now if I make it a dual axis and synchronize, and then I'm going to make this circle as small as it'll go, and we get something like that. I need to take measure names off of the color. Okay, and then we can hide the headers. And we get something like that. I think that's pretty similar. Yeah. That's actually, let's make it look exactly like, so total sales is that, and then it has the percent change underneath of it. Okay, something like that. So that looks like it works. Pretty close. All right, got 3 minutes left, so let me see if I can find one more to do real quick. Also, while I am pulling this up, would you all find it useful if I did maybe another session where I try to go through more of them? Yeah, just let me know what you think there. Okay, so this one, so we've kind of done these already, so I'm not going to, again, all these dashboards look great, and I'll be sure to link to all of these. Okay, so that was Ludovic. Ellen stuff is always fantastic. So again, same kind of thing we did there, except this whole thing, all of the text is colored. That's the only difference there. So actually, I think what I want to do is I want to throw some of these together in a dashboard first. So let me, what did I do there? Okay, so let's, I'm going to bring in a container. Maybe I make the whole thing 800 by 800. Okay, and then let's say we're going to have, we want to have, I'm just going to put a blank in here as a placeholder, and let's color that background, make it yellow. Okay, so we want to bring in a horizontal, and let's stick a couple of our KPIs in here. So let's put that one, and then let's do maybe our, actually let's do this one because I think this one's a bit better. No, we'll just put them all in there. The weekly sales. Okay, so that's 3, maybe one more. Okay, and let's set these all to distribute contents evenly. Entire view, and then these should both already be entire view. Okay, hide the title. All right, so let's maybe just drag that down a bit. And we get something like that. What I would, oh, it doesn't, I think I need to make the whole dashboard a bit wider. Okay, there we go. Let's make the whole thing a bit bigger. And then what I would do is I'm going to add some padding on each of these. So let's set that to 0. Actually, we could just leave it, it doesn't matter. And let's put some inner padding of like 20. And then this one, let's do the same thing. This one, let's do the same thing. And then this one, let's do the same thing. Okay, so now if I select that container, I can set the background to maybe gray, and we can see them a bit better, not great. So background white, 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 white. Oh, I see what I did. I did the, okay, so this should be 20. Or let's make it 10 maybe. Maybe 8. Yeah, let's make it 10 for now. And inner padding, let's set that back to 0. Okay, and then we've got 10 and 0. I just like how they have the kind of borders around them. I think it looks nice. And if I set this one to 0, yeah, see that pushes it right up to the edge, which I don't like for that one. So let's do 10. Okay, so now we've got those. Let's bring in another horizontal container below that one. Oh, that was nice. So let's fix the size. So let's edit the height. Let's make it 250. All right, and then I'm going to bring in another container. And let's edit the height, make it 250. And we set the background to, I think, gray. Is that right? Yep. Is that the same color gray? No. Okay, anyway. So now we want to bring in maybe this one and this one, maybe the triangle and the square. Okay, so again, we'll make these distribute evenly. And let's go through and do some formatting. So background is white, outer padding is 10. And then, okay, so this one, notice how we got this little extra white space on the side. So we need to change the, so show header. The axis needs to we need to force it to go from 0 to 1, not the automatic sizing that Tableau does. Okay, so let's hide the header. Okay, so we got that, so let me hide the title for that. And then this one, let's hide the title. And we can maybe make the triangle a bit bigger. So this is where you're just going to kind of play around with the sizes to get them sort of the right way. So let's go back over here. Okay, yes, that looks good. Let's make that 10. And let's make it maybe 10 on the inside as well. So something like that. Okay, background is white. 10 border, and then 10 padding. Okay, maybe 20 padding. Yeah, there we go. And again, 10 and 20, and that. Oh, I should hide the header, and then these ones I should hide the header. Okay. So that's those two. What else do we have here? We've got another one that we want to, another container, edit height to 50. I think that's what I did. So let's just get rid of that one. Set the background again to be gray. Hopefully this isn't boring, like watching me do this, build the dashboard, but hopefully you find it helpful. Okay, so let's bring in, let's just do 2 of them in here. What's this third one? Yeah, we don't need to do that one. So let's hide the title, layout. So let's do inner padding of 20, outer padding of 10. 10, and then inner padding of 20. So why is it doing that though? But it's putting all that gray space around it. So this one looks a bit weird. Oh, okay, so I need to set the outer padding to 0. No. the idea. Okay, so I think we're gonna call it quits there. So let's distribute contents evenly. Select this container and let's do distribute contents evenly. And now we've got this nice little selection of KPIs. Anyway, I'll see if there's other sessions I can do like this. I'll get this published up to Tableau Public, and I will also include I'll include the link to it in the description for the video, and I will also link to some of the examples that I showed. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming. You have yourselves a great day. Bye.